Greetings, my people. It's Mr. PDT yet again on another episode of the Enlightenment series.
I put it to you that Jeremiah Omoto is the father of baby testimony.
So, this housewife of Johannesburg, the 419 self-proclaimed journalist, none other than the housewife of Johannesburg. He does not deserve to be called by his name because he is a housewife. He came with daring allegations. And in his daring allegations, he was claiming that Jeremiah Omoto Fofane is the biological father of baby testimony. There's a pattern in which I respond to people that either stand against the truth or people that stand against against me to sabotage what I'm doing. This video that I'm going to play for you, he did it, I think, about 5 months. I take a very good time before I respond to my critics. I take a period of about 6 months before I say something about bad things that were said about me. And the reason why I take time is because I'll be waiting for God to vindicate me. And God has vindicated me in one way or the other in so many different instances against the accusers of brethren. This disgraced housewife of Johannesburg called Solomon, he was caught red-handed with false information. He was feeding his general public, his followers, with unverified news and unverified information. And he was put to shame. His career was shattered. His falsehood finally came to an end. This did not only happen with this 419, so many other bloggers. Should I say from Nigeria? I do not want to generalize, but yes, they are from Nigeria, who have also tried to hinder the progress of the Enlightenment series by coming up with falsified information. We have Maureen, that has been peddling lies all her life, also claiming that this case of baby testimony is being financed by Johnson Suleiman, who also claims that this case of baby testimony was handed over to me by Kasi Chuku, the son of Johnson Suleiman. And the reason why she peddles this lie is because she wants to give an impression to people that Prof X is being paid by Suleiman, or Prof X was paid by Suleiman. That's why Prof X is not talking about Suleiman. Well, Maureen, I left Suleiman for you because you're the one who has been running cases on Suleiman. And if I do an audit of the cases that we have run about Suleiman, none of them yielded any fruits. You did the Otobo case, a very simple case. Otobo came back again and disgraced you. The same way this one called Solomon was disgraced. That's what happens if you're not standing for the truth. That's what happens if you're advocating for justice without a clear conscience. Now you want to water down what I'm standing for, baby testimony, by alleging and convincing unsuspecting masses that I'm doing this with a hidden agenda. I have a vendetta, I have scores to settle. There is money coming in my pockets that is motivating me to be fighting for baby testimony's justice. That's the theory that they are coming up with. That's the mindset of these cheap bloggers. They can't just believe that someone can stand for the truth without being motivated by money. Why do I need to be paid for me to advocate for a missing child? Why do I need someone to finance me or give me money to advocate for baby testimony's justice? When we advocate for baby testimony's justice, we are not fighting Jeremiah Omoto Fofane. We are asking him questions which none of you are willing to ask him. Because you are not willing to ask Jeremiah Omoto questions, you now turn the tables around and start challenging Ruth Matthew and start calling Ruth Matthew a liar. Well, there's nothing to prove that Ruth Matthew is lying. But everything that is there to prove is Jeremiah Omoto Fofane is responsible. Some came and say Jeremiah Omoto is innocent. And the question we ask is, why do you say Jeremiah Omoto is innocent? Has he provided the CCTV footage yet? Has he distanced himself from knowing about the abduction of baby testimony on the 15th of April 2019? Well, if he's innocent and he does not know about the case of baby testimony. Why? On the 27th of April or March, is it April, January, February, March? On the 27th of March, why did he come out and give a prophecy that what will you do if this baby comes out? What will you do if this missing baby comes out in 4 days? Why did he come out and give that prophecy if he did not know anything about the missing child? Or if this child was indeed not missing? Sometimes we have to apply our senses and stop being sentimental and stop being competitive. I'm not in your league. All you people that are trying, persevering to pull me down or fight me or shoot this case of baby testimony down. I'm not a blogger. I've said these times without number. I'm not doing this to cash out like most of you are doing. I've got big things going that I should be doing, but because of the calling of the Lord upon my life, He assigned me this case. As soon as I'm done with the case of baby testimony, as soon as we find baby testimony, maybe I might even conclude my mission. So never put me in the same category as you bloggers. I'm not blogging. I'm advocating for something that is real, something that is humane. It is the first time that a case in Nigeria has ever been fought to this length. That's what amazes them and that's what annoys them. That who can be consistent for this long? But this is a child that is missing. We do not have an option. I'm just trying to lay a foundation and I'm just trying to create a blueprint that I hope the future bloggers that are going to come in this landscape of Christianity will also emulate. So don't see me as a competition. Instead, learn. Take notes. The charlatans that you claim to be exposing, talking about, none of you have ever had an experience with them. The only thing you know about them are things that you see or things that you hear. We have witnessed them, observed them at arm's length. I have not worked with them, but I have been an instrument in their camp. And all that was a strategic position so that God reveals to me how these diabolic men operate. So when I come and then I start telling you things that they do, when I come to you and then I start telling you that they can't do any miracles, they are faking everything. They can't prophesy anything, they are faking everything. It's all coming from an experience, first-hand information, not things I was told or things that I read. I've watched these people faking things. I've witnessed these people manipulating and cooking prophecies. I've seen them paying people, hiring people to come. They have agencies in different states, different areas, which bring people for them. Not sick people, but people that pretend to be sick. And you still say, no, so are you doubting the anointing of God? Are you doubting that God can heal? God can heal, but God is not using any of these charlatans that you call your prophets and your apostles. None of them is being used by God. So before we deviate from the topic of the subject, we are talking about this disgraced housewife of Johannesburg called Solomon Izang. Is it Izang or Izang, whatever his name? Now that he's a disgraced cherubim, he does not deserve any special title to recognize him. In his recent broadcast, which was, I think, about a few months ago, this is what he came out to say.
So, guys, I want to talk about my analysis of the whole issue about from Jeremiah Omoto to Ruth to baby testimony. The whole thing, right? I want to give you my view about that. I feel this is actually what happened. So this is not a conspiracy theory, like some people are saying conspiracy theory, because they feel like Prophet is saying he gave a conspiracy theory because he feels like the world is closing down on him. So he brought a conspiracy theory. No, I'm an investigative journalist, and I will give you my assessment of this situation. That's what I'm going to give you.
Okay, wait a minute. I don't think this gentleman, this housewife, knows what investigative journalism is. They just use these terms out of context, in all ignorance. There's no any investigative journalism that this housewife does. All he does is to create stories and lie about certain things, almost all things. When he comes and say, I have sources, reliable, credible sources. Just know that one thing I'm coming to realize is this gentleman has a mental problem. His condition is mental. He needs to be checked. He needs to be checked because the lies that can come out of his mouth. I feel sorry for his wife, actually. If we have to deal with the lies of this particular young man, young 51-year-old man, imagine the wife. How many lies he tells to the wife? You never know the reason wife is taking care of him is maybe because of the lies that he has been telling the wife. That maybe he's lying to the wife that he is a prince of Nigeria. He's just waiting for his frozen funds in Nigeria to be released. You know, those are some of the scripts of 419. When they want to manipulate women, when they want to take advantage of women, he could be telling the wife that right now that there is an inheritance of me in Nigeria that is waiting for me to go and receive. But it's going to take this amount of time and it's going to need this amount of money for me to clear those funds. So for now, all my accounts are frozen. So just take care of me now, but just know that, you know, everything is going to be all right. We are going to be rich one day as soon as my funds are released. He's probably a prince of Nigeria right now to the wife. That's what he probably tells the wife. But there's no sane woman that can adopt a 51-year-old and takes care of a 51-year-old without expecting something just because of love. Can that be love? I don't know. Maybe love can do that. That you can, a woman who has about 3 or 4 children can also adopt a 51-year-old child or husband. All because of love, without lies having been peddled to her, promises and things like that. I don't know. But let's look at what is investigative journalism. Let's educate this brother in the process so that we can conclude and we can just put this brother, we can give him enough knowledge and information so that he does not classify himself as an investigative journalist. Let's ask Siri what investigative journalism is. Hi, Siri. What is investigative journalism?
Investigative journalism is a form of journalism in which reporters deeply investigate a single topic of interest such as serious crimes, political corruption, or corporate wrongdoing. Shall I continue?
Yes, if you may.
An investigative journalist may spend months or years researching and preparing a report. Practitioners sometimes use the terms watchdog reporting or accountability reporting. Most investigative journalism has traditionally been conducted by newspapers, wire services, and freelance journalists.
Deeply investigate. Who took months in their time to investigate? How much time did this baby charlatan, this housewife, took to investigate the case of baby testimony and came to the conclusion that Jeremiah Omoto is the father of baby testimony? What research did he do? Oya, continue.
I would like to put it to you also that Ruth at one point asked Doris to take one of her child. That's Chioma. I have the audio. So it seems like Ruth is in the business of giving away children. Maybe because it's too burdensome for her. Maybe because she needs to move on with life.
Let me hold you there once again. Now we have a hint or an idea of who the source of Solomon is, who his credible source is. He just mentioned Doris Chioma, that he has recordings of Ruth wanting to give away one of her child. So he's basing his analysis and his conclusion on this primary source of his, Doris Ogala. But you all know Doris Ogala. Doris has always been on Jeremiah Omoto's side. And Doris is just there to come and exonerate Jeremiah Omoto for fame. She does not care about finding the missing child. She's not interested in finding the missing child. So if you can base your source on someone like that, if you can base your information on a source like that, a source that is biased, then what do you have to give to the public? What investigative journalism? What form of investigative journalism is that? Continue.
Now, Jeremiah Omoto has made some statements. One of the statements he made about baby testimony was the fact that baby testimony, he said, the baby testimony resembles him. Then this is something I've previously said. I think Prof X and his cronies, and then Brood, they're beginning to see where I'm taking this whole thing to. So now they want to jump ahead. I'm here to tell you that based on my own analysis, personal analysis, right? I don't have the final piece of evidence yet, but I'm sure we're going to get that final piece of evidence. I put it to you that Jeremiah Omoto is the father of baby testimony. Now, the question there is, was it adopted or biological? Rude knows that the baby is with Jeremiah Omoto. And my analysis is there was a transaction. There was a transaction between the two of them. Remember, Ruth was very familiar to some certain level with Jeremiah Omoto even before she came out publicly. So I feel that there was a transaction, a financial transaction between them. Now, this is a financial transaction gone wrong. Maybe it was actually he's a biological father. Or maybe he told her that was a deal where I want to have this baby, and she negotiated and gave it away.
Like I always say, let's not expose these people with falsehood. If we are going to expose them, let's remain on the path of truth. The moment we start improvising and adding our own lies in this journey of exposing charlatanism or fighting for baby testimony, we'll never get to the truth. I've been on this case for the longest time ever. There's no single day that Jeremiah Omoto came and said that he looks like baby testimony, that he resembles baby testimony. He has never said that. So where is this housewife getting that information that Jeremiah Omoto said he resembles the missing child? He resembles baby testimony. When did Jeremiah Omoto say that? The only thing Omoto said was the baby will come out in 4 days. Is the prophecy that what will you do if this baby comes out? So do not jump on a case that you do not have the background information about, that you do not know anything about. I've studied this case. I've been on this case. I know it like the back of my iPhone. I know this case like the back of my iPhone. There is nothing that a 419 housewife of Johannesburg can come today and tell us that based on my investigative journalism, I have come to realize that Jeremiah Omoto is the father of baby testimony. This is a fallen star. This housewife of Johannesburg is a fallen star. In fact, I wrote a poem about him before I did this video, which I thought I was not going to collaborate the words together if I do not recite it or if I do not read it from my phone. So I'm going to go through it and tag that 419 here. Let him come and listen, and let this be a warning to all the other bloggers that are peddling on lies, that are fighting the unfightable, that are standing against the case of baby testimony. For sure you'll be disgraced. Anyone that has ever tried to hinder justice for baby testimony has been disgraced. This is not the first time that this housewife is being disgraced. The downfall of this 419 journalist must set as an example to all those that are peddling on lies and all those that are trying to sabotage baby testimony's justice. I took an oath that I'll fight for this case until we get justice for baby testimony. There's no blogger, no 419, no self-proclaimed journalist, even the Barakete themselves, none of them combined together. There's even a time when all bloggers came against Mr. PDT just so that we can throw this case away. This is a case that will never be a bygone until baby testimony is found. If they killed him, they will have to go and resurrect him because we want him in flesh and blood. So this is the short poem that I wrote for this disgraced fallen star, this disgraced 419 who has recently been exposed as a liar, as a baby charlatan. Him and charlatans, same WhatsApp group. This I tell you. So here it goes. A deceitful self-proclaimed journalist with pen in hand wrote fake stories on a deceitful stand. They twisted truth and lied with no limits, fooling the masses, all in the name of Christ. Their words are a poison, a cancerous growth, manipulating minds with their deceitful oath. But their downfall was always long coming, as the truth of their lies soon came to light and exposed for the frauds they truly are. Their career in shambles, a fallen star, their reputation in tatters, their name dragged in the mud, their deceitful actions forever a scar. No more will they write or spin a tale, for they are done. Their stories will never be credible. Their downfall a just end to their deceit. A lesson to all other bloggers and journalists to be honest and discreet. Their pen, once mightier than the sword, now used to write their own downfall, a tragic chord. Their lives forever, a reminder of their name, as they face the consequences of their deceitful game. For the trust they broke can never be regained, and their downfall a lesson forever ingrained. No more will they write or spin a tale. Their reputation is forever pale, a cautionary tale for all to see that honesty and integrity are key. Honesty and integrity are key. I rest my case. With that being said,